Congressman, the next question will begin with you. It's on health care reform. You may have heard of the topic. What's your position on implementing the health care reform law, the Affordable Care Act, and on proposals that have been made to modify or repeal it?
I proudly voted for health care reform, and I will resist. And I will resist. Thank you. Thank you. And I'll tell you why. You know, in 1960, when John Kennedy was elected president, we only spent 6% of our economy in healthcare. Today, we spend 18%. By a factor of 2, we spend more as a percentage of our economy and on a per capita basis than any other industrialized country in the world. And it is going to bankrupt government and bankrupt the private sector, one of the fastest growing variable costs for small and big businesses alike, and for the federal government, and for the military, is healthcare. We had to get our arms around that cost. And having 33 million Americans out there uninsured, half of whom are actually young people who would be welcome in the risk pool, is an inefficiency in the economy we cannot afford. Every one of those people is going to be brought in, and they're going to be on private insurance programs, not a government program. All that rhetoric about a government takeover, it's false. It is false. It is a private-based insurance program, but everyone's going to have it moving forward. And that's going to be an efficiency that over time will extend the lifespan of Medicare and provide needed reforms for consumers. Now, in that bill was a patient's bill of rights. Never again will an insurance company be allowed to deny you health care based on a pre-existing condition. Never again. Never again will an insurance company tell a woman who's just been diagnosed with breast cancer, oh, by the way, we're rescinding your health care. That's illegal. Never again will a health insurance company arbitrarily be able to say, we have annual caps on your health insurance coverage and lifetime caps on your health insurance, so God forbid you have a catastrophic illness. That, too, will be illegal. There was a lot of rhetoric. Now, of course, the rhetoric shifted to we can't afford it, even though the Congressional Budget Office says it's fully paid for and actually brings down the deficit by $1.2 billion. Your openness to data continues to surprise. The Congressional Budget Office is the final arbiter of all legislation in Congress. The American people are. No. The American people get to decide whether they like it or not. But the Congressional Budget Office is the final arbiter in... I believe this is going to be good for the American economy. I think it's going to be good for the American consumer. I believe it's going to be good for business. I'm proud to have cast my vote for health care reform, and I will resist with every bone in my body any attempt to repeal it.
For 3 minutes.
Can you repeat the question specifically?
Absolutely.
Thank you.
On health care reform, what is your position on implementing the health care reform law, Affordable Care Act, and on proposals that have been made to modify or to repeal it?
Well, folks, on the Monday before the Sunday the bill was voted on, 75% of Americans were against the bill in a CNN poll. That surprised me a great deal that it passed. I didn't expect that it would. I think there's some really glaring problems with it. I say that because I tried to read it, and I spent a lot of time trying to read it. And I read an earlier version, probably version 5, and it was self-referential, but it wouldn't talk about Section 232. It would talk about something, and you'd have to go find it. It just took a long time to labor through this thing, and I never finished it. And the conclusion I walked away was, I was thinking, you know, I'm not sure what this does. I'm not sure the people who wrote it even know what it does. But it's a 2,300-page behemoth that, if nothing else, means that if I can't afford insurance for my employees, I got to pay a $2,000 fine. That's enough to drive some companies out of business. The other thing it does for me, we have thousands of subcontractors at my company nationwide, and I have to file a 1099 for every one of them I pay $600 or more to. We estimate that's about 3/4 of a person. Now I have a couple hundred employees, so it's not going to kill us, but it's a real cost, and it's the kind of cost that can really hurt companies. Now, with that in mind, I think the bill ought to have had at least 4 different things that it addressed, maybe 4 separate bills. One of them should have been wellness. The bill doesn't address your health. It doesn't address wellness adequately. Well, and by that I'm saying I think there should be an incentive, there should be a difference between the overweight smoker and the fit marathon runner. It doesn't address insurance across state lines, doesn't address tort reform, and doesn't address health savings accounts. Now, I pay $16,000 a year. I pay $16,000 a year per employee. They pay $3,000. They pay $3,000, but I pay about $16,000. And when they get the sniffles, they go right to the doctor. What I would much rather have is a health savings account where of the $13,000 I pay, it goes right into an account. And now when they get the sniffles, you know what? Maybe they don't go to the doctor because that money comes out of an account that they now possess. That $13,000 goes to like a 401k. And when they leave my company, they take it with them. That is putting the healthcare decision into the hands of the user. I think that's really wise. And I think... So I think there are some changes to what's passed that would be very smart, that would be very effective. And I want to point this out. LASIK surgery is a free market innovation. It's not covered by insurance, but it's better, it's faster, it's cheaper, it's safer than anything before it. And it's a wonderful innovation. I think in sending American medicine to do what it does best, which is innovate and create this great new stuff, while we solve and while we reform insurance would be very wise on our part. So I hope that answers the question.
1 minute for you.
Well, I'm sorry my opponent didn't get a chance to read through the whole bill. I did. I did twice. And had he read through the whole bill, actually, he would have noticed that there are 5 sections in the bill that actually deal with wellness and incentivize people to change their lifestyle and to move medicine more toward preventive medicine than, of course, intrusive surgical kind of medicine as we move forward. Changes in lifestyle can indeed make a huge difference both in wellness and in the cost of health care. And in fact, one of the problems was there were so many provisions in the health care bill that on this issue, but unfortunately, the Congressional Budget Office, which I mentioned is the final arbiter on costing a bill, would not give any credit for that. Now, we know that you can actually change the paradigm when you go to a wellness paradigm, and that you will, in fact, have additional savings in health care costs. None of those savings were counted in the final costing of the bill.
Mr. Fimian, you have 1 minute.
Yeah, my final comment was I was running a company. I didn't have a lot of extra time to just go read the health care bill. I made an honest attempt, I will tell you, but it was hard to do both. I wasn't in Congress.
But you want to repeal it anyhow.
What I want to do is have the best medicine America can have.
That's what I want to.
Something they agree on.
Imagine that.